Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Season 12, Episode 44, overall 649 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, hosted by yours truly, Chris Palme, and brought to you by our friends at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, located at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out their website, barrycullen.com, for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with their great selection of all-electric vehicles and Cadillac vehicles as well. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership has been family-run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969. Speaking of Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, with winter here in full effect, if you're looking for quality winter tires, check out the service department at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership. Either Greg Smith or Sarah Higgins can help you with your winter tire needs, and I believe they have save on the tax on winter tires right now at Barry Cullen Chevrolet. So the more details at barrycullen.com. And also, wintertime being here and minus 21 temperatures here tonight, they can drain and kill your batteries. So if you're needing a battery check, go to Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership. Right now they're doing a free 12-volt battery check. I'll say it again, a 12-volt battery check. And if you happen to need a new battery, they will give you a $20 rebate on a new battery as well. More details at barrycullen.com or pop by the dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Season 12, Episode 44, 649 again on this Thursday, January 15th, 2026. It is minus 21 right now here in Southern Ontario, and we just had about a foot or a little more than a foot of snow here as well. And I was doing about an hour of shoveling today. So old man winter is back here in Southern Ontario. And I'm looking forward to my guest tonight. This is her first appearance. We met through social media, through TikTok. And my guest's name is Coach D. She is the founder of REWIRED Institute. And she does work on nervous systems and identifying an identity rewiring coach who helps people break generational patterns that inside alone hasn't been able to change. So we're going to bring on our special guest tonight, and I believe she's from the state of Florida. So we're going to bring on Coach D right now from REWIRED Institute. 1 second, guys. Good evening, Good evening, Coach D. How are you?
Hello, Chris. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing okay on this minus 21 snowy day.
Is insane.
With the wind chill, yes. With over a foot of snow today here. So
I'm cold just thinking about it, Chris. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna let you have that.
So you are based out of Florida now. Are you originally from Florida? Are you originally from Florida?
Jacksonville. I gotta shout out my Jaguars, Duval. They had a good run. I don't think we lost. I think we didn't get beat. We lost. We didn't get beat. We lost.
Well, I think the team that beat you guys, the Bills, are going to be eliminated this week. The Bills play in Denver, and Buffalo's pretty banged up. And to be honest, my Eagles got put out too, so I'm kind of sad. It was not a good weekend for your team and my team, but you know what? I think the Jaguars are headed in the right direction going into next year, and the Eagles, you know what? Every time the Eagles have a setback, they get back to the Super Bowl next year. So I really do think Jacksonville will be a contender in the AFC next year, and the Eagles will be back in the Super Bowl next year as well.
You're right. I mean, I was rooting for the Eagles last year. Whenever I always look at chemistry when it comes to teams. And last year they had great chemistry. In Jaguars. When I look at my top five, kind of look at the teams, how they vibe, the coach, the team, and the Eagles had it last year. They had great team chemistry. Everything. Wasn't perfect, but they came through and won last year. So this year they were a little fragmented. They were a little disoriented. So there was something there lacking in the chemistry for sure. And same thing with the Chiefs. They didn't have it. They weren't going anywhere.
And that was the Chiefs' first down year in about 10 years. So, sports is like life. You're going to have your successes. You're going to have your championships, but you're also going to have your setbacks. And it's how you respond to adversity and losses where you get better. Anybody can win a championship and be successful, but it's how you respond from adversity. And it's sort of like the way life is too. Not everything's going to always go your way.
Exactly, and that's, a lot of the basis of my work is just that sometimes, you can have a playbook, you can have a game plan, but it's when you practice and you run those drills and you do the things that actually helps you to rewire. That's kind of the basis of what I do when I think about life and rebounding.
By the way, the Jacksonville Jaguars, were you able to get to a game this year?
I was not. I was really wanting to. My mom, my sister, my son-in-law, his brother, and dad were all. They had a box. They were in the box area of the game for the last game, the playoff game. So I was living through them vicariously, knowing they were there having a good time and watching. I was at home watching with my daughter and my granddaughter. We were here having a great time and sipping on some peanut butter whiskey and having a great time.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who's your favorite Jaguar player?
Jaguar player. Oh man, I love Trevor. I love his heart. He's just a down to earth guy. He was great at Clemson. He just seeing him just stay, just to who he is. He's just got a great vibe. He'll walk in a Waffle House locally and just light up the place. He's not too high, too high-minded or anything like that. He's really down to earth, and with him and the coach, they've just brought a great chemistry to the city and to the team together collectively. He didn't give up. He had a couple bad years, and just kept going, and we're just glad to see him thrive this time around.
How much do the Jaguars mean to the city of Jacksonville and surrounding area?
Yeah, Jacksonville, Duval, like when we got the game in the team in 1996, I believe, or 94, it was just such an exciting time to get the game. To get the team here and they, there's so many native Jacksonville people that are born and raised here that are still here, and this is their team. And those years, good or bad, they're there, riding it out. But this whole vibe with the Duval and just Jacksonville has so many songs. If you ever look up Jacksonville Jaguars songs, they have even country songs that we just have a whole vibe. Jacksonville in itself is unique. It's a kind of transient city where you have a lot of people who are born and raised here that are still here, and a lot of people that have transplanted here, and that integrate very well. So.
For someone that's never been to Jacksonville, why should they come and visit?
Well, Jacksonville, it's a country city, I have to say. It's not your city like your Atlantas and your Miamis and New Yorks and such, but it'll give you the conveniences of city with the little, like each side of town has its own little feel, where it's kind of like a country feel where everybody knows everybody kind of sort of, but it's big. It's you can drive 30 minutes in Jacksonville and still be in Jacksonville. It's like it's a big city. You have the beaches, you have the river, you have of course the ships, you have the cruise ships. Um, some of the counties have really, really great schooling. You have some rural areas. You have your, your city area. They're rebuilding the downtown area, so that's really nice. And each side of town has its pocket of entertainment and vibes and food. So you get a very much diversity when it comes to food and experiences. And then you have the team, and then you have the baseball team, and there's a hockey team. So you have like a lot of variety, and you can go to the beach in December, And so we were at 70-degree weather just Monday, I think it was, or this weekend, and you're at the beach almost year round, and you have the beach, and just a lot of variety, and you're right there by Georgia. You're not in Orlando, but close enough to get to Disney and close enough to get to Savannah. So it's a great little spot in the nook, so to speak.
Now, weather-wise, you have nice weather most of the year, but do you guys get the hurricanes, or that more towards Miami and Tampa?
Yeah, we're kind of tucked away. We kind of, we haven't had a direct hit. It's usually, right above us, or it'll go right around us. We've been very fortunate many of the years. So we get wind, and we get some wind and such, even when it comes closer. But we're 20, most of us, if you don't live right at the beach, we're 20 miles. Being it so big, you can be in Jacksonville on another side of town and not be affected at all by a hurricane. So it just all depends on where it hits. But we haven't had anything direct in many years.
What are your thoughts on the Jaguars playing the next 2 years in Orlando, as their new stadium will be ready in 2028, I believe?
Yes, I feel like that sucks. Orlando's traffic is already horrible. We were kind of hoping maybe they went to Gainesville, that would have been a little easier to go to the Gator Bowl. Smaller though. I mean, it's a college town, but Orlando traffic is already bad. So, I mean, it's not the worst, it's not like they're going out of state. So it's not the best, but it's a minor inconvenience to go see our Jacks.
The current stadium, is it kind of like it really needs to be replaced?
It is a older stadium. Yeah, I guess if you want to stay up, with the trend and with the vibe, the investment is a good investment, especially now with the win. It's almost like,
Winning sells.
Yes, there you go. You go. So it's timely, it's not like they just started the project. So they're getting, as far as the planning and everything, we're right at that point where we're winning, and you want to keep the momentum going. And so a new stadium would just, reinvigorate the city so much. Along with a lot of the building, they're building more hotels, more housing, and lots of apartments and skyrises and apartments and such. So that's been nice. And a lot of the older areas are getting revamped as well.
One of my guests last night was from Florida. She's now in Los Angeles. She was from Boca
Raton.
Raton, yeah. How far is that away from Jacksonville?
I want to say Boca's maybe 5 to 6. It's before Miami. Miami's right at 6.5, 7. So it's before Miami.
Small world. And I'm going to put you on the spot before we get into some questions about your company and your career. Since the NFL weekend's coming, I want to get your thoughts. I know you love sports as well, too, and football. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Buffalo, Denver, and then San Francisco and Seattle on the Saturday games.
Yes. All right. Love it. So Buffalo, Denver, I definitely think the Denver, Broncos, especially since we beat them, that broke their winning streak. They are determined to go all the way. They look good. They have a great chemistry. And like you said, I don't think the Bills are going to recover too well from the beat up they got from Jacksonville. And oh no, yeah. So are they? Yeah, they're playing Buffalo, and then I'm going for Texans. I think
Texans over New England. I agree with you there.
Yes.
I think Houston has a lot of. They actually remind me of the Eagles a little bit last year. Maybe not as good
Mhm.
offensively, but you could see how
Yes.
good their defense is, and they're playing like a team, and they're hungry. And
Yeah.
I really do see Houston over New England. I agree with you there.
Yeah, they look great. I feel like if I was gonna go for anybody, it would probably be the Texans. They would, even though they're in our division, I believe, right? We play them, but you gotta cheer for somebody. I like their chemistry. I like what they have, their
Good head
movement.
coach. Good head
Yes,
coach.
yes. So I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Houston for sure. And then
So
who Seattle?
they're on San Francisco, and the Niners are banged up. I
Yeah,
honestly, I don't trust Seattle, but I can't see the Niners going into Seattle after beating Philadelphia.
yeah. And I'm telling you let's see, did the who's left? So we got the Bills,
The
Houston,
Rams and
Rams.
Bears. The Rams and Bears
Bears,
Sunday night.
man, that Bears win. Let me tell you, I thought the Bears were going to lose. I'm like, they keep shooting themselves in the foot. And when I saw that, what's his name, Caleb, when he looked at the score right at halftime, and he just smiled. They were 31-20, 3-21, I believe it was at
Yeah.
halftime, and he just smiled. I'm like, this kid is crazy. And he
Yeah.
had this quiet confidence that like he was not intimidated by that score at all. And they came back and won. And I was shocked. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, they won. I was impressed. I'll say that. I was impressed.
Coming and they were down by 18 points. So
Yeah.
but you don't want to get behind the Rams by 18 points. I think the Rams have more talent, but you don't
Mhm.
want to go behind 18 points because eventually it catches up to you. But I do think if the Bears get off to a good start on Sunday night, I think they can upset the Rams. I'm going with the Rams, but I think the Bears team can make it a good game. And I got a viewer watching. His name is Steve Taylor. He's watching on Facebook. He wants to say if the Bills beat Denver, which is a big if, and Buffalo's banged up, they could play New England if they win. But I don't think New England's going to win. I really think it's going to be Denver and Houston and the AFC. And I
Yeah.
think it's going to be Seattle and Chicago in the NFC Championship game.
That sounds right. That sounds good. That sounds about right. And then we have to see Seattle, Chicago, who would win out of that. I might go with Seattle on that one between Seattle and Chicago, and then Houston and the other
Denver, Houston and
Denver.
Denver.
I'm gonna go with Houston all the way.
I do agree with you there, by the way. Even though you're my guest, I do agree with you there. And Steve does agree with us. Chicago will win this weekend. If the Bears play their game
Yeah,
and don't get off to a bad start, I think they can win this game at home. But everybody's like, oh, the weather, oh, the Rams. You know what? Back in the 80s and 90s, maybe the weather would affect the West Coast teams, but these guys are all professional athletes. They're paid millions of dollars. They have to play in all kinds of conditions. So I just think I don't think the weather will be a factor unless like there's a blizzard or high winds. I really feel I do feel Chicago is going to win this game. So yeah, I think we agree on most of our picks there.
Yeah, love that. Love that.
By the way, I want to share some news with you. I just found out this week from the NFL I got approved for a media pass for Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara. So I've been turned. Thank you. I've been turned down the last 4 years, but I decided to put one in September, and they gave me an email on January 13th, and I just have to now send them like a headshot and some more personal information and stuff like that. But that what I tell people in any career, don't give up, because in any career you're gonna have people say yes, no. You're gonna have your skeptics and haters. Don't ever give up, and your opportunities will come at some point.
Love that. Love that, Chris. Congratulations. That is awesome.
Thank you so much. And I did cover the NFL draft in Detroit a couple years ago too, and that was crazy. 275,000 people that night. I don't know how I got in the city and got out of there, but it was an amazing experience. So I've been very fortunate, and it's guests like yourself that make a great talk show. So I'm very lucky in that sense.
Aw, thank you so much. I feel honored to be here with you today.
Well, Sage, or sorry, Coach D. I keep calling you Sage. I have a
I
niece
am a
named
sage. I am a
Sage.
sage.
Okay. I have a niece named Sage too, by the way.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but I am based in the Toronto, Ontario area. Can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, yeah. So I am a certified health coach and certified functional nutrition practitioner. I've had, over 10 years of experience with helping people as a coach. And then I've kind of, before I became the founder of REWIRED Institute, Sage REWIRED Institute, it was Sage Wellness Coaching, where I was helping clients to overcome lifestyle diseases and heal their guts and lose weight and improve their relationships and things like that. And so, where they were able to make transformations that were lasting, that were pretty sustainable. And I am a mother of three, grandmother of six. A new one just came today, a little boy.
Congratulations.
8 pounds, 4 ounces. So super excited about that. 5 girls. He's the first boy. And really excited about that. I'm married. We have been married. I'll be 14 years this year.
Congratulations.
14 years. And yeah, they're very active in my community through my ministry, and just a busy person as far as how can I serve, and service is just foundational for me, and helping others, whether it's helping them through, learning about the Bible, learning about themselves, learning about healing, how to heal themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So it's the fiber of me.
And I'm going to be honest with you right now. I am seeing a dietitian every couple of months, and I am trying to lose weight. I have lost weight before, but the hard part, losing the weight, I don't find the hard part. It's maintaining the weight loss, because I find when I get stressed out, some people turn to alcohol, drugs, or whatever. I turn to food, and for me, I need to be more self-disciplined and self-aware. So right now I am working with a dietitian, but maybe you can give me some helps, give me some tips on better nutrition, because I want to, ideally, I don't want to say, hey, I want to lose 50 pounds, because that's a lot of weight. Right now I'd like to kind of like lose 5 pounds and maybe just try for smaller amounts. So maybe any tips or information for myself or our audience would be greatly appreciated as well.
Yeah, no problem. And that's actually interesting. A kind of a great bridge into Rewired, because as a health coach, I did that, for many years, and I did successfully help clients to meet their health goals, heal their gut. But like you said, it's certain patterns and that's where I noticed the disconnect. Because after 2 to 3 years, weight comes back, and managing what wasn't happening was at a nervous system level, right? Because you said, when I get stressed out, stress comes from the nervous system. That's where Rewired comes in. It's rewiring. A lot of us are wired from our generational patterns. So this wiring was created when you were a child, when you were in your mother's womb. A lot of our nervous system wiring, say, for instance, if your mother was, if someone's mother was stressed about money and things like that while she was carrying you, all of this is wired into our system, right? And the science behind that, there was a research done on Holocaust survivors, right? And their grandchildren carried it's called epigenetics. Their grandchildren carried a certain gene that was dominant in the trauma that they experienced, even though they did not experience that trauma. Right. So we can carry certain genetic markers of our grandmother's stress and worry in our system. So when you say, you may even look like, yeah, my mom or dad used to do X, Y, Z. How did they handle stress? How did they embody that stress? So from a nervous system level, if you really want transformation, is learning how to manage your nervous system so that when you get stressed, you're not repeating the same patterns. That pattern inside of you to stress eat for comfort right? Because food helps regulate your nervous system. It calms you down. That's why you go to those comfort foods. So when you're able to regulate the nervous system, and you learn that, that's what I teach through Rewired Institute, is how to rewire the nervous system. Because although our wiring was given to created by our environment, we inherited it some, and it was created by environment. That's where neuroplasticity comes in, our brain's ability to rewire, right? So even though you have a certain pattern, you can rewire the pattern. And so at Rewired Institute, what we do is essentially open the hood so that we can look at, not to judge or blame or shame, but look at the wiring, where it came from, understand the wiring by first looking at it. Like, oh, you pop the hood on something and you see all these wires. You're like, oh, that's why I stress eat. That's why, I bite my nails when I'm nervous. All these things are nervous system reactions to stress, to anxiety, to rejection, to fear of abandonment. So all of these things come into play and then trigger the other behaviors that create our identity. So that's why what I discovered with the hundreds of clients that I work with, that although we could heal the gut, reverse, I say reverse. I've had clients who were diabetic and were able to, get off their metformin and because they changed their lifestyle, they changed their eating habits. And I always tell my clients that who are successfully coming off of medications is that as long as you keep the lifestyle, right, the lifestyle dictates the need for the medication. If you don't have the lifestyle, you need the medication, right? Right. So that's how that goes. So, so when it came to making those changes last, because I would always start when I'm coaching my clients, I always start with what is your lifestyle? It's not only what you eat, it's when you eat, where you eat, who you're being, what is your emotional state when you're eating, recognizing those patterns so that you can stop and interrupt that pattern and reprogram your brain to respond differently. And that's the work that I do. So it's more of a nervous system level thing that creates transformation. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
No, it's okay. When I was younger, I was more active, but when I got out of college and got older and started working full time, I wasn't as active. And I wanted to get your thoughts on metabolism, because I've seen some people in my life where they just eat poorly, eat nothing but junk food, and they're skinny. And then people who eat stuff put on the weight. So what are your thoughts on metabolisms as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way the body digests food and everything, it's almost as if some damage is more visible than others. Because people who eat poorly and still don't gain weight, they still damage their insides. They still have horrible gut health. You know what I mean? They don't have to necessarily be overweight to have Crohn's disease, diverticulitis, ulcerative colitis, diabetes. It doesn't matter. So just because it's not showing externally doesn't mean the damage isn't being done internally, number one. And metabolism is a thing, as far as some people will metabolize their food quickly, and some of that is genetics, right? And it does slow down. But I would agree, as far as metabolism, that is it's not what I tap into mostly, because what I have seen, I will say this, being as the focus was gut health and healing, most people who are not overweight don't really identify with needing services for weight loss or heal, but they do have gut issues. And I've dealt with clients who were trim and thin, but had horrible gut health. So that, but more so my work was with people who wanted to lose weight. So that was a little less, so I haven't delved in as much into metabolism, but just the patterns that I've seen, I agree that, there are some who just have a higher metabolism rate. There are ways to increase your metabolism. I teach my clients on how to do that. So you can tap into some of that, increasing how your metabolism burns. So, not everyone can do it, but intermittent fasting, things like that, what you eat, the first thing you eat in the morning, there's foods that warm up your metabolism. So there's ways, it's not hard coded that, you couldn't increase your metabolism rate, because that's also a possibility.
What are your thoughts on fasting?
Fasting, I majority like it. Now, if you're on medications and things like that, can everybody fast? No. Can most people fast? Yes. Intermittently, or every year I fast. The most I have fasted was I want to say 31 days. And but that's water, lemon water and water, kind of just a cleansing fast. But whenever after 3 days of fasting, your cells they go through what they call atrophy, where they kind of die off and renew themselves. So it's like shedding old skin. And if you do I have a certain protocol that helps even people. I've had people who were able to remove gallstones through fasting, and, taking certain combinations of things during fasting. So 85% of your body's energy is spent on digestion. So when you are not digesting food in fasting, your body redirects that energy to healing other aspects of the body. So if 85% of the time energy is spent digesting food and you're eating constantly, that like your body has very little time to give attention to the gallbladder or other organs that may need attention, right? So when you fast, instead of that blood flow going to the digestion and all the things, that the amount that is needed to digest food is rediverted. So your body starts doing a deeper internal cleanse, right? Internal healing, that it can now focus on other organs and other things that may be internally going on, because it's not spending its energy digesting food.
Now,
So I
how
think it's
hard is
very powerful. Mm-hmm.
now for some people they want to lose weight, but they don't know how about going about it. So from your experience, what advice would you give to somebody that's wanting to lose some weight and become healthier? And do you feel even 30 minutes of walking a day can help as well?
Absolutely. The body loves movement. The body loves and wants movement. And a lot of times when I'm talking to my clients, I tell them to reframe the idea of exercise to I'm just giving my body movement, right? Especially with the sedentary lives that we live, sitting for hours and hours. It's like giving the body, fresh air, a drink of water. Like it just loves it in them. And I say start slow. Your body will tell you when it's ready for more. So don't start heavy. Start with what is free and easy. Go for a walk. After a walk, and so sometimes people, what happens is you get bored, right? You go to the gym, you get bored. Once you get bored, you get disengaged. So, but that boredom is not actually, that boredom is a invitation, a signal that the body wants more challenge, more intensity, right? Versus starting intense and then tapering down and then quitting. You start slow. Even on my own health journey, that's part of my journey also, was losing weight. And I was about 240 pounds when I started health coaching. I discovered that I had celiac disease, celiac. I discovered I had a gluten allergy through my health coaching, and food sensitivities. That's one thing a lot of people more than reported have undiagnosed food sensitivities. And they just kind of, like myself, I kind of thought, oh, I have a bug, or I'm just sick. I would eat bread. I love cakes and I love bread and I love all the give me the more bread and the fried chicken, everything, but my gut, I would look like I was 6 months pregnant, and I would get so bloated and uncomfortable and be in pain every month thinking I was sick with a bug or something. I blamed blamed everything and everybody else. Like I would say, somebody didn't wash their hands. I just something was unclean. I would like blame everybody and everything else. And when I was going through my coaching certification, a part of our journey was, healing and working on ourselves. And I and I do this with my clients, an elimination diet. And during that elimination period, there are certain foods that you don't eat, mostly inflammatory type foods and dairy and even bananas and things like that, high sugar. So you're not doing sugar, gluten, dairy, eggs, all of that for 7 days, right? You eliminate it and then you reintroduce it one by one. So I reintroduced bread, coffee, something else you eliminate. I introduced bread and I got sick right away. I'm like, no, I was in denial to Chris. I was like, no, this can't be it. So I tried it again. I was sick again. And the last time I tried it, I remember it was a pita. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna try this pita. And I was sick as a dog. And I was like, I had to come to terms with, I have a gluten allergy. I have a gluten sensitivity. And I mourned that thing. But then I found gluten-free bakeries and gluten-free bread. And, I learned to kind of come to terms with it. But had I not discovered that 10 years ago and continued to eat gluten, I would have had perhaps Crohn's disease or something more serious, because it would have tore a hole into my intestines because of my reaction, right? And that's what happens. I worked for a pharmaceutical company that actually manufactured the drug for UC and Crohn's disease and psoriasis and everything. And with working with the patients, they were, they would talk about their episodes and how they would have flare-ups and things like that, and they couldn't leave the house. And no one ever asked them, well, what did you eat yesterday? Like the flare-up is a chemical reaction to something. And then I asked them, did anybody talk to you about nutrition? No. No one's educating them about nutrition, what foods to avoid. I say no one. The ones I were talking to never were informed that maybe they should eliminate their gluten. That if you have Crohn's, UC, all those things, gluten and sugar is inflammatory. You already have an inflamed gut, right? So why would you introduce foods that are going to increase your inflammation? That's the pain. That's the sensitivity. That's the IBS-C and all the IBS-D, all the things. So it was that lack of knowledge to me that was like, man, somebody just has to educate people that, this is an issue that people can control. I don't take medication for celiac. I don't take medication for those things because I know that I avoid gluten. I ask the questions, I read the labels. If it has gluten, things like you wouldn't even be surprised that soy sauce has gluten in it. Like, why does soy sauce? But things that shouldn't even have gluten. But when I read the labels, like, oh man, this has gluten in it. I went to get some ice cream the other day. And I'm like, oh, this sounds really good. I had to read the label. It had wheat gluten in it. I'm like, oh, can't have this. So that education right there has really prevented me from having severe outbreaks. Because I can tell you, I'm so sensitive, Chris, that if there was a crouton on my salad and I've tried it and I'm like, I didn't want to make a fuss. So I'm like, no, don't worry about it. I'll just move it. I'll just take them off and I'll eat the salad. I got sick as a dog. I'm like, I can't even do that. Even if it touched my food, I'm going to have a reaction. So that's the severity. And you get more sensitive the more you avoid it. But it's not your body failing you. It's your body serving you. People look at food allergies as, their body's betraying them because they can't eat what they want. And that's the mind-gut connection that I really focus on with Rewired, because your mind may say, oh, I love bread, but your body's saying, we can't eat bread. Bread is not good for you. And it's sending you all kind of signals. It's sending you to the bathroom. It's giving you bloating and all the things. And that's what Rewired does. It looks at the gut-brain axis, understanding that your gut has over 500 million neurons. That's more than your spine. So when they say your gut is your second brain, it is literally your second brain. And 80% of communication between your gut and brain comes from the gut to the brain, not from the brain to the gut. So if your gut is in distress, likely your mind is a mess, right? You can't focus, you're tired, you're anxious. All those things happen when your gut is in distress.
One thing I've learned from my dietitian too, listen to your body. If your body is full, then don't keep eating. And if your body's hungry, so right now I have a food chart, a sleep chart, and a veggies chart as well. And also I've learned too that when you do go to the grocery store, probably not a good idea to go to the grocery store when you're hungry because you tend to
Mhm.
buy more. And
Yeah,
also reading labels as well. And one thing I need to reduce is sodium and sugar because a lot of things have so much of it in. And if you can reduce your salt and sodium and sugar intake, that can help you lose weight as well. And reading labels as well. And another thing I've learned too is being in media, I tend to work odd hours. So I tend to eat out. When you eat out, you can't control what's in the food. When you cook at home, you can control what goes into the ingredients.
absolutely. Yeah, reading labels. One of the things that I tell my clients is we oftentimes get caught up with the numbers on the labels, the percentage, like you said, sodium and such. But even more important is the ingredients. If you look at the ingredients, like for instance, I look at French fries. What is French fries? Potatoes. You pick up a bag of French fries and it has 50 ingredients. Okay, you want to look for the bag of French fries that has potatoes and maybe one thing to preserve it, salt, or I can't remember. I think it's apple juice or something they use to preserve it. But and maybe some salt, sea salt. So if you look at the what is in it, that will also decrease the numbers as well, because you're going to have lower sugar, you're going to have lower low sodium, because the ingredients are more as close to organic or natural. Because my rule of thumb is, if you cannot pronounce it, then you probably don't want it in your body. And if it's an ingredient you cannot pronounce, and then I took time to even research these ingredients at a time, like, what is this, what is this, what is that, and then you read what it is, and it's like, oh my goodness, I'm putting this in my body. Right? So potato chips, I don't say stop eating potato chips. I say just read the label. Find something that has potatoes, olive oil, and sea salt. Three ingredients that they actually exist, versus a bag of chips that has 10, 15 ingredients. Like, that's kind of the guidance I do with the labels.
And maybe if you have a snack or a treat, in moderation. I know with sugar, I love sugar desserts, but you know what? I find if I can't control myself, then it's better to stay away from that. And I have given up a lot of stuff the last few years, and I've been told by my doctor you can have some of it in moderation, but I find as soon as I get a taste of these sugar desserts and tastes, I can't help myself. So some people it's with alcohol. For me, it's a battle with sugar, and a weight loss is kind of like a daily life battle. And I know I'm not alone, and many people out there aren't alone as well.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And what happens with the sugar, salt, yeah, it's like a yo-yo. When because your body is constantly trying to find balance, like homeostasis, right? So if you have too much sugar, guess what your body craves? Salt. You have too much salt, guess what your body craves? Sugar.
Sugar.
So it's constantly trying to find that balance. And that's why sometimes you have dinner and you're like, oh, I want something sweet, because there's probably so much sodium. Your body's sending you a craving to regulate the sodium levels in it with sugar.
Steve Taylor is watching on Facebook has a question for you, Coach D. He wants to know, is sea salt better for you than regular salt?
Yeah, sea salt, you have your iodine. Sea salt has more minerals. You have more mineral in a sea salt than you do in iodized salt, which is a little more processed, and more acidic than your sea salt. So when you talk about salt and processed sugar, what they do when you digest your body is not designed to process to break down processed foods. So what happens? It knows natural foods, how to process and break down those things. And what sugar and salt does, it's acidic, so it comes into the system. And if you like rub your tongue on the inside of your mouth, that's pretty much the texture of your intestinal lining, right? Probably a little more finer. You know what happens when you bite the inside of your mouth?
Oh yeah.
It gets like a little canker sore, a little
Yep.
sore on the inside. Well, imagine that you're lining the gut lined with that. Imagine when you have that sore opening that you put some salt. What happens when you put salt in that? You're like, oh, it burns, right? Well, sugar and salt, they do that. And what happens, people talk about the LDL, the good cholesterol and the bad cholesterol. Well, what happens is oftentimes the acidity causes little tiny holes, right? Which causes a little, like almost like, minor internal bleeds, right? And what your body does as it's trying to work for you is that it produces cholesterol, and cholesterol comes and plugs these little holes that is created by acidity and other things that are tearing at the intestinal lining. So a lot of people, I feel like a lot of undiagnosed people have undiagnosed leaky gut, leaky gut, leaky gut, leaky gut. And the thing about it is they're getting medications to address the symptoms. But in essence, if you detox your system, if you reset your gut, you can actually heal your leaky gut. There's L-glutamine, there's slippery elm, there is things like melanin, things that actually help heal the intestinal lining. There are pharmaceutical grades. I have a online dispensary where I have access to pharmaceutical grade nutrients and supplements, and I do functional testing as well. So I do something like oat testing, organic acid testing, that looks at, it kind of gives you a blueprint of everything that's going on in your gut, your candida, your nutritional deficiencies, things like that help you. So when I'm working with my clients, I'm not only saying, hey, you need vitamin D, or, I'm curating what they need based on their nutritional deficiencies as we are healing the gut, removing the foods, doing the things that are necessary to heal the gut, and curate a plan that actually, where you were talking about the food cravings and all of that is decreased with proper hydration, meeting deficiencies that are in the system, right? And then the rewire, the emotional needs, because sometimes when you're emotionally hungry, because your body can't say, hey, we need a hug, hey, we need companionship and something else. It can't say that. So it sends you a signal for emotional hunger. Because once you address physical hunger. So you are, sometimes I tell my clients, when you feel that hunger signal, take a pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what really is hungry? What am I really hungering for right now? It may be I need to pick up the phone and call a friend. It may be I need to reconnect. Maybe I need to mend something, and your body's sending you a signal. And it manifests itself as physical hunger when it's actually an emotional need.
Steve Taylor, who's watching again on Facebook, says, thank you, Coach D, for all that information. And
you're welcome.
Thank you for that as well. Do you have any plans to publish a book in the future?
Yes, I do. Your gut remembers what your mind tries to forget. That is the book that I'm publishing. We're talking about the generational wiring. As I mentioned earlier about the generational gut patterns, what I teach in Rewired, I have a Rewired framework. The pattern, the language, the repair. So I've identified 5 generational gut patterns, the ones that we've inherited: suppression, hypervigilance, disconnection, over control, and chaos. Those are the 5 generational patterns. And what I do in the book is I take each generation and I look at the environment that shaped their nervous system. right? So now we're looking at the silent generation, your grandmother, your great grandmother, the boomer generation, the Gen Xers, the millennials, the Gen Zs. We look at each generation and what was happening at their most impressionable time where their nervous systems were being shaped. That is a common generational pattern. So we look at the generational gut patterns, and then we layer two is the 5 gut languages, and that's how your body needs safety. So somatic presence, embodied affirmations, nervous system support, boundary communication, rest and restoration. These are the things your body needs to feel safe, right? Once you give your nervous system safety, things like losing weight, things like anger control, emotion control, attachment styles, being an anxious, attachment style, all those things are easier to manage. And then we get into the third layer, which is the 5 repair languages, how your patterns are actually healed when you feel safe reconnection, felt impact, somatic repair, embodied responsibility, and consistent change. So that's the foundation of the work we do at Rewired to help you to rewire and understand that your gut will always remember what your mind forgets.
And you know what? Your weight, I'm going to reword this. Our body is like a car. Most of us seem to take better care of our cars better than our own bodies because if we don't look after our vehicles, they're going to break down and cost us even more money. So that really should apply to our human bodies. If you neglect your body, eventually you're going to pay the price at the end.
Exactly. And that's why my approach is different than therapy or traditional coaching because therapy works with awareness and insight, right? It helps you, it's a complement to these things, not competing with it, but it helps you to understand why you do what you do, right? That happens in your prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain. That's incredibly valuable. Traditional coaching is where I started. It focuses on strategy and action, right? That's the what and the how. You set goals, you create systems, you build habits. My approach works with the nervous system. This is where the pattern lives because here's what I've discovered, both personally and working with hundreds of clients. You know exactly why you can know exactly why you do something. You can have the perfect strategy to change it, but your body will still run on the old program, right? And why is that? Because your nervous system speaks English and your nervous system doesn't speak English, right? It speaks biology, is what I mean. It communicates through sensations, through the 5 gut languages. So while therapy gives you the map, coaching gives you the route, I'm teaching you how to actually drive the car, which is your nervous system. When all 3 work together, that's when people experience real lasting transformation, right? Chris, it's kind of like the difference between studying film, having a game plan, and actually training your body through reps until the movement becomes automatic. You need all 3.
Coach D, how would you describe yourself as a coach? And how did you come about starting up your own business, Sage REWIRED Institute? And were there some challenges to starting up this business as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So how do I, as a coach, I'm a deep coach. I'm a deep transformational coach. I go deep and I, one of my things I say to myself, if we're not crying by the end of your session, if there are no tears, I did not do my job. Right? Because a lot of the work it doesn't live at the surface. We have to go deep. And I always ask permission before we go deep. But my work goes deep when I'm working with my clients, because that's where a lot of, I'll give you an example. I had a client who said, I want to lose weight. Oh, great. That's exciting. What do you want? Oh, I want to lose like 30 pounds by the summer. I want to, have a nice body for the summer, right? So that was her goal. I said, great. Why is that important? Well, because I want to look good in a bikini. Great. Why is that important? Well, maybe if I look good in a bikini, maybe my husband will pay attention to me. Oh, great. Okay. So why is that important? It's important, it's been kind of a long time.
Okay, everybody. Oh, are you back, Coach D?
Am I back?
Yeah, you just froze up there for like 10
Okay.
seconds.
Okay. I'm sorry. So she said, I want to lose weight. I want to look good in a bikini. I want my husband to notice me. I feel like we've been disconnected for years. And so once we went deeper, what you really want is to feel more connected with your husband. The surface goal was to lose weight, right? So we go a little bit deeper. So as a coach, very deep centered in getting people to really rewire their transformation. I started my own business because I really felt like I wanted to do something more. And my passion was always to help people. I had a corporate job before I started on my business. I was worked for a shipping company, and way before, in 2016, I started my business while working my corporate job, right? And it gave me purpose because after about 10 years, 10, 12 years I was there at that point. And I would look out of the window of this nice corporate building. I'm like, God, there has to be something more. And this was my something more. So no matter how tired I was from my work day, I would always, I had clients after work, and I would be so excited to get with that. That gave me the passion again. So to me, you can do any job you want as long as you get to do what you love sometimes during the course of your day or week, right? That gives you that fuel and the motivation to be able to, all right, I know I'm just here to pay the bills, but I get to do what I love. If you get to do what you love, it gives you another energy and motivation that you just won't get out of a regular career. And some of the challenges of starting up as an entrepreneur is just finishing what you start. Like the vision is there. When things get rough, the sustainability. I used to say, I don't say it as often now, but you don't need faith for a 9 to 5. You just go to work and you get a paycheck. When you're an entrepreneur, you rely a lot on faith because you're like, okay, God, I need something to come through. So it really helps you to strengthen your faith as far as that's concerned, and just rely on something outside of yourself to get it done, and I have, started off good and then ended up going back to work and then fell off with my business, and it just was a up and down until I got the alignment, until I got rewired, I got aligned, right? That alignment gave me exactly what I needed so that my assignment was clear. Alignment first, assignment second, and I no longer question it. I just move forward knowing that I have an assignment in the sense of my mission to help people to heal. This generational wiring work is transformational. The hundreds of people who have been I have done over 400 hours of live, 400 days, of live on TikTok, and the people there are people who don't miss a day of my lives because of the transformation that has happened in their own personal lives. That's my why. I anchor into my why when I hear their responses and the transformations that are happening in their life. That's just the fuel. If I could do it for free, I didn't have to pay bills, I would do it for free. And that's when you found something that you're aligned with.
One thing I wanted to say too, and I did this a lot for many years too, is people get complacent and they're afraid of taking chances on doing something better, or what's the word I'm looking for? Playing small and staying shrunken.
Yes, yes. And you know what? Your body pays the price. When you suppress, what is true for you, what is your light, so to speak, when you suppress that, your body pays the price. Your body keeps score, right? You'll see that suppression show up in your gut issues and in constipation or the opposite of constipation, whatever that may be. Your body will show you, it will scream. I know when I'm even working with clients on their gut health, I ask them something. What is something you used to do that you haven't had time to do in a long time? It might be art, poetry, music, writing music, playing music, singing music, art. I haven't had time for that. Well, there's part, we have, there's parts of our bodies. We have our, education, relationship, health, mind, all this thing, and creativity is a part of that. So if you're suppressing a part, not because you want to, but you don't have time, that part of you starts to want attention. Right. So things that are suppressed will start to ask for attention. And you feel like, God, I feel so anxious, like, because it wants you to slow down. That's that rest and recalibration, to really recalibrate, to really restore yourself, to really reconnect to something that excites you, that gives you that feeling that you got when you used to play the guitar, or when you used to write that music or write poetry. And because of life and everything is busy, doesn't mean that part of you still doesn't want nourishment and attention.
And also, too, you have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. When you start up your own business as an entrepreneur, you have to do things that might make you uncomfortable. And the only way you grow in any career is you got to step out of your comfort zone. And I have done that too, going from a job in security for 23 plus years. And I ended up doing camera work, and the camera work led to my podcast show, which led to my freelance media work, and volunteering actually followed my new career 6, 7 years ago.
That's awesome. Yeah, out of your comfort zone. It's gonna
Step
take,
out.
in your morning talk, how you talk to yourself, your belief in
Mindset.
yourself, your
Mindset.
mindset. Absolutely. I had to get out of my head, out of the fear of judgment of what other people may think, and oh, you want, whatever. It's like, I know what I'm doing what I love, and it's not wrong. So why would I, concede to doubts and fears? Because people will project their own fears on you, their own limitations on you. They won't take the risk, so they discourage you from taking a risk. They may not believe in themselves, so they discourage you in a way. So I have learned to only share with those who can take my vision a little further, right? Like, who can be more of a mentor, be a more like they've done what I'm trying to do, versus someone who's never done it. And we have a need to share. And I used to be that overshare, like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm so excited. Now I can learn to kind of be silent and be intentional when it comes to sharing my dreams or what I visualize my business to be, so that I can align it with someone who can amplify that versus dim it down.
Or being around toxic people, insecure people who belittle your accomplishments. And I wanted to get your thoughts on belittling these days.
Oh my goodness, it's so second nature. People think that it's I'm just trying to be honest. I'm just keeping it real. Yeah, you're keeping it real toxic. That's about it. And real, keeping it real, and it's all a perspective. Like, well, somebody says, a friend of mine, like, oh, I don't, she might have said, I don't think those glasses are, they're too big for your face. I'm like, okay, thanks, but I love them. I love it. So it's all about, I could have looked at that as belittling or whatever, but it's like, no, that's just your opinion. I understand that there is, there's not a right way. It's just a different way. Right? Not everybody is just about a right or wrong. It's just different. And that's okay in a lot of instances. So belittling has almost become a thing. I think that this generation, these Gen Zs and the alphas, they've kind of, they're shutting it down. That's why I look at the generational work, because there's some generation that has a zero tolerance for that. So you're going to see a lot of that belittling and a lot of that toxic kind of thing more in your boomers, silent Gen Xers, but the millennials and the Gen Zs, they're kind of a lot less tolerant. They have a strong cut you off and block you game. They will cut you off and block you so quick. They don't care if their mother, their father, their grandmother. So they are retraining a lot of us who are comfortable with just belittling and saying things that are crossing the line for talking to another adult. This idea that because you're my child, I should be able to say whatever I want. And this generation, they're not having it. They're like, nope, you're not going to talk to me like that. I'm protecting my peace, cut you off and block you. So that'll teach a lot of us who think it's okay to say whatever we want out of our mouth to our kids and others, and train us a little differently in that regard.
Are certain people that want to keep you, they want to make you shrink, keep you small.
Yeah, because as long as they keep you small, they feel bigger, right? They feel big. They can puff up their chest. So, yeah, that's I tell a lot of people, oh, that was that I left that in 2025, the ability for somebody to be able to belittle or shrink me. Not that I don't do that, because I'm confident in who I am and what the gifts that I've been given that I use. And I'm grateful for those gifts, and I don't take any credit for them, but I definitely am grateful for them. And I just know that that's just I live with that comfort in my heart.
Life is sort of like a book. One chapter of your life closes, another chapter opens up. And in my 6 years of doing this, I've lost some old friends, but I've also gained a lot of new people. And I'd rather be around people that are positive and supportive than people that are toxic and trying to keep me small.
Absolutely. And we got to recognize that, because there is I talk about the avoided attachment style. People who will they will push you away, and the push you away. And when they think that you're getting too far away, they'll pull you back, push and pull, right? And we have relationships like that, friendships like that, people who treat you one way, and then you get upset, you don't call them, and then now they're, hey, let's hang out, let's, I miss you. And they bring you back in, and you think it's good. And then they, start not answering your calls or treating you different. And they play this game, this push-pull game. And it's very important for us to recognize that some people get their co-regulation off of you, meaning you're the calm in their world, and they love that, but they may not love having you around for that. They prefer the chaos, but they need you for the calm. Right? So they prefer the friends that keep the drama and the mess, and they know that's not you, but they need that co-regulation of, all right, man, I feel good. And then then they ghost you. You don't hear from them for a while. Right? So it's understanding, your gift as far as your ability to help somebody, to comfort them and self-soothe. Understand that, hey, somebody's taking advantage of me here. They're getting something from me without wanting to be something for me. They're getting something from me and don't want to be anything for me. So they're withdrawing and making no deposits. And those are the relationships that you want to reevaluate.
You don't want to be somebody else's puppet.
Absolutely. Nope.
By the way, I've had a couple of ventriloquists on my show too, by the way. Very
really?
Talented.
How is that?
one from Australia, Lindy Jane from Australia, and another one, Christine Berger from LA. And it's not easy doing what they do with puppets.
I can only imagine. I have a little nephew who he actually makes his own puppets, and he's starting to learn how to sew so he can mix his own, and does a little puppet show. And he was telling me these puppets can get very expensive. I'm like, really? And I think he said he's trying to make his own Kermit the Frog puppet, and he's very smart. And he was like, yeah, you just got to make the mouth, and you got to make sure you don't have too much cushion in the mouth part and all that. I was like, wow, okay.
Have you thought about trying it?
I said I would learn with him, if he ever wanted to take the time to teach me. Listen, I stay in my lane and let everybody, whoever can drive fast in their lane, let them speed past me, and I just stay in mine.
Maybe your nephew will make a puppet of you.
Oh, there you go, Coach D puppet.
Yes, market it. You can market
a little
it.
Therapy, coach, a rewired puppet.
Absolutely. Are you still good for time and for a few more questions?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. How did you end up coming up with your branding and marketing for Sage REWIRED Institute?
Yeah, so Sage was of course, my first business name was Sage, which stands for support, accountability, guidance, and encouragement. So that was the foundation. And I didn't really want to part from Sage. And when I even tried and I said, okay, rewired, I'm like, a lot of the work foundationally that I was doing now is about rewiring the brain, neuroplasticity. You can rewire, you can change patterns. I've had in my community, on my live community, I've had people who were overcoming addictions. Um, and they didn't speak about it until they got comfortable in the community to speak about it. But through being in my live rooms and things like that, they were able to get that support they needed. And tools that I was giving them and they were applying them quietly that helped them to overcome or to manage their addictions much better. So, Rewired was just a perfect name to me because not only are you getting the support, accountability, guidance, and encouragement, now we're adding to that another level, which is rewiring the brain. Patterns that you think are stuck, it's like giving your brain a software update. Like you think you're stuck. Oh, this is just who I am. No, you were wired that way. And just like you got wired that way, you can get rewired. And that's where I came up with the name and branding.
Now, I wanted to ask you this, Coach D. Are your sessions all virtually done, or do you do some in person? And typically, how long is a session with Coach D?
Yes, I have programs and I have sessions, and I've been on Zoom or virtual since 2016, before Zoom was a real thing. So I have been doing virtual sessions and have had clients, all over the country and even other all over the country here and other places that I've been able to work with. So that's opened up an opportunity to work with clients anywhere. And usually I do a session, a discovery session, strategy session that's usually about 60 to 90 minutes. I say give 90 minutes just to give it some spaciousness. I feel like it takes some time to really warm up and get people to really kind of get clarity on what they really want. And I aim for my goal is always that even if we don't work together, I want you to get some sort of transformation in this time, whether it's clarity or a the clarity that leads to transformation. I'll say it may just be a light bulb moment that says, wow, I had one client after our session. My recommendation to her was not that we work together. My recommendation that she goes to trauma therapy, because what she had shared with me, she had not processed. And I stay out of the scope that I know that I can't, that doesn't belong in my field. So I recommended her to start with trauma therapy. And so for me, my goal is for you to gain clarity on what you want. And if the path isn't working with me, at least you know a path, right? You leave with something that says, oh, okay, I need to go do X. I need to get therapy. I need to go here. I need to do that so that we can continue to work together, or, maybe you come back, maybe you don't. But I feel like that time I want to honor by that you can take away something. I'm not just here to pitch you a program. I really want you to get the clarity, because without clarity, you don't have a direction, right? You can't make a goal if you're not clear. That's why some people struggle with vision boards, because you're like, what do I want? And you start throwing all kind of things on your vision board. I completed my vision board for this year. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, I did it and I laminated it, and it says, and I say vision board, but I like it to be poster, like notebook size, so that you can stick it in put it places where you actually will see it. And in there it says that this season I built from alignment, not urgency. And it's about clarity. Once you know exactly what you want, why you want what you want, you can then take the next step. And that's, if it's working with me, great. If it's something else, that's fine too. I'm not as committed to the outcome as I am to your getting something from the time.
Coach D, what's the certification process like being a coach, and how much has the internet and social media impacted your role as a coach?
Yeah, the certification process, the first for the health coaching was the first certification was about 6 months. And then I went on to the mastery, which is another 6 months. And then the nutritional functional nutrition was about another 9 months. So in total, I think about 3 years of training. Um, and yeah, social media has been great. Word of mouth is good. I get a lot of clients from referrals, but social media has been great as far as getting my voice, my branding. I was just today looking at some old videos from 2001. And, I was like, girl, you had it going on. You didn't even realize it. Like sometimes you're in it thinking like, oh God, I suck. And then you look back and you're like, girl, you did that thing. You did pretty good. I had to say, as far as the courage and what I thought was like, oh, this is like low grade. I didn't think a lot of my content at the time. And I'm just like, there was a carefreeness that I just didn't, lack of awareness that I'm more aware of now, and a little more like, I'm like, gosh, I just want to relax and enjoy and make the content. And I did that in the beginning because I didn't know what I was doing.
How much have you evolved as a coach over the years?
Oh man, so much. I still have like notebooks and notebooks of like client sessions and things like that. Technology has definitely evolved me. I'm able to use technology services to record my sessions and take notes for me and things like that. But as far as a coach, my awareness has deepened to, I lean into my strengths. I lean into the fact that I know when the next question I'm going to ask is going to create a reaction that is going to probably be tears. Like it's going to go deep. And when I sense that, I pause and I say, before I ask the next question, do I have permission to go deep? And when they say yes, I usually hit something that is like, hitting oil, it's like, there it is, right? So I lean into that. I used to be afraid of that, kind of run from it, asking the hard questions or the intense questions. But I lean into that because that's honoring them versus yielding to my fear or discomfort of asking that question. I understand that I create a safe place, safe space for people to want to share. And I just embrace that, and I embrace it. And I have grown. And one thing I do know about coaching is that you can only take a client as far as you yourself are willing to go.
They have to be willing to help themselves.
Yeah. They have to be willing to help themselves, ready to do it. And if you, for instance, say, for instance, you have a problem paying someone to coach you. Say, for instance, you're like, oh man, that's too expensive. $1,000 for coaching, that's too expensive. Well, you could never charge somebody $1,000 for coaching, right? Because you don't see the value enough. Like, just if I had to, to put a monetary value on it, it's like, that's what I mean. Like, you can only go as far as you're willing to go. So when I myself invested $10,000 into coaching, I now have the comfort to say I can charge a $10,000, so that, not that that's my rate, but just to say that, I have gone that far and know that, because I invest in coaching. I don't only coach. I know I can only ask my clients to go as far as they go. If I don't believe in coaching, how can I ask you to believe in coaching? So I should have a coach if I'm asking you to invest in one.
How competitive is the coaching industry right now? And do you have any plans in the future? I know you do a lot of TikTok lives, but a future maybe Coach D podcast?
Yes, everyone tells me because when I was doing TikTok live last year, 2025, I did 3-hour daily live, 5 days a week from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. I mean, 9 a.m. And for the most part, my community would stay with me. We had a lot of engagement, a lot of fun. YouTube, long form content, podcast. Everyone keeps encouraging me, you got to do a podcast, because when they miss it, they want to hear it again. Right. So podcasts would help me to keep that container. And what was the first question? I'm sorry. Yeah, I do have plans to expand that. And I'm sorry if I missed the first question. There's two parts to that.
The first one was the podcast.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I should have wrote down the other part.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, so we'll roll with that. But LinkedIn, I was trying to do LinkedIn, but I love this format that you've introduced me to, StreamYard. So I definitely want to tap into using that and just get more exposure out there. Sage REWIRED Institute is evolved from the coaching aspect. I'm integrating the gut health, the mind brain axis, the mind gut brain gut axis, along with attachment styles, and I weave into that emotional intelligence. That's another aspect of my programming. My program is that a lot of people talk about, and it's a buzzword, emotional intelligence, but my program through Rewired actually helps you to look at where you rate on each of the emotional intelligence elements, which are the first being awareness, the second being awareness, regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. So these 5 elements encompass emotional intelligence, and no one has a 10 on all. If it was a ranking, no one has a 10 on all. You may be like not very aware, but very empathetic, but there's some, so we look at all the elements of the emotional intelligence, and we incorporate that with the generational wiring and the gut languages, so that you can then increase in areas where you may be deficient and struggling, so that you do improve your relationships, your work ethic, your work relationships, your personal relationships, your parenting skills. I've seen clients who have improved and healed their relationship with their children. I've had clients who healed their relationship with their parents, improved their relationship with their spouses because of the work we do at Rewired.
Wanted to ask you this too. You brought up empathy. Do you find empathy around the world nowadays has shrunk?
Empathy? Mm-hmm. I mean, we are so desensitized, to so many things. People can see somebody get robbed. It's interesting. We have more empathy for animals than we do for humans. I know you are an animal lover yourself, and it's like, not to say, it's not empathy towards animals is not warranted, but someone will walk over a human before they walk over a dog. They will see somebody lying in the street and keep walking before they watch a dog suffering.
Do you find listening and communication skills have shrunk due to social media and the internet too?
Listening, yeah, absolutely. Especially when it comes to the generation that the Gen Z and above, because Gen Z, they came into a world, they don't know a world without technology. And what's been created because of the internet and the algorithm is that the generations after Gen Z and above, like, because your millennials, they kind of were in between a little bit, but Gen Z specifically, to fully technology world and beyond. And what's been created is algorithmic silos. And what happens with the algorithmic silo is that, you remember it, Chris, when you were growing up, you listened to your mom's music, your mom and dad, and you watch your mom and dad's shows, and you guys would share that cultural experience so you could hear music. Well, with now algorithmic silos, children have customized music and programming just for them. The algorithm has broken cross-generational connections. So they are out of touch because the algorithm designed everything for them to listen. And so if your opinion, depending on what you watch, you're going to get more of that opinion that supports and feeds that opinion, right? So you have less openness, less just being open or understanding, because you have only one viewpoint that you've been fed, right, based on your algorithm feed. So that they get blamed for being disconnected culturally, but the algorithm has broken that connection. They won't hear music from our era unless the algorithm feeds it to them.
As we wrap up the show, Coach D, how can people subscribe and find your YouTube channel? As we're going to play a little video clip from it.
Oh, thank you. Yes, definitely subscribe on my YouTube channel. I believe if you have it there, Sage Coach, Rewired, Sage Rewired. I just started a new channel for Sage Rewired. I had one for Sage Coaching, but I was like, okay, I'm going to start one fresh. You can catch me on my TikTok lives Monday, Wednesday, Friday on TikTok. It's on Sage Coach, Sage Coach D. I'm on TikTok 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Of course, my YouTube, I'm starting to upload a lot of my TikTok clips and things to YouTube, and I'll start creating more long form content. So definitely keep an eye on that. I'll be teaching a lot of what I'm teaching in Rewired on YouTube to start getting some of that traction there because people need to know this information. It is, no one else is teaching it the way that I am, incorporating all the elements. Now you have someone talking about neuroscience, you can have somebody talking about gut health, you can have somebody talking about attachment styles, you have somebody talking about emotional intelligence, but you won't find a space where all of those are combined and taught in a way that creates transformation.
And we're going to play this video right now from your YouTube channel. And just give me 1 second right here. It is disorganized attachment, chaos in your nervous system from your YouTube shorts. And just let me know if you can hear the audio okay.
All right.
1 second.
What happens in the nervous system for somebody that has disorganized attachment? Their nervous system activates all 4 nervous system responses. A disorganized attachment, all 4 chaotically, there's no pattern. They have all 4. So what does that look like? 1 minute you're raging, that's the fight. 1 minute you're panicky, that's the flight. 1 minute you're numb, that's the freeze. The next you're over functioning to keep them happy, that's the fawn. Your nervous system is in constant chaos.
Thank you so much for letting me play that little clip from your YouTube channel as well. And just thoughts on that video. And also, before we wrap this show up, thoughts on people pleasing too, because that's something I've been doing for most of my life too, people pleasing.
Yeah. So that disorganized attachment style. All right. Thank you so much, Steve Taylor. I see that.
Thanks, Steve.
That disorganized attachment style is something else. We, with our gut being in chaos, going from the different nervous system states, it is something that can wear on you, right? Emotionally, mentally, physically, and your body tells the story. And it's hard. Being in a relationship or being that way, that disorganized attachment style. And that's something that with Rewired, I help people to bring awareness to it, to learn how to regulate, to learn how to recognize the pattern, to learn how to address it and to heal the pattern and recognize it so that they are pattern interrupting themselves. What I call pause before pause. So pausing, the power of the pause You know, that is huge. There's a part of your brain that takes 0.25 seconds to react. And then the part of your prefrontal cortex takes about 7 seconds to come online. So the part of your brain that would actually be rational and logical takes a little longer to come online than the one that will react and explode. So, when you talk about people pleasing, that's wired from very young, right? There was something, and it was wired for survival. And doesn't mean it has to be necessarily an abusive situation, but we as humans look to do three things to maintain three things: a sense of love, belonging, and security. So when any of those three things are threatened, your body writes a code, a pattern. It codes a pattern. It wires a pattern for protection. So it says, okay, so Chris, in order to keep the peace, we're going to say yes. We're going to go with the flow to keep the peace. So wherever that was wired, whether it was, some instability or inconsistency in love patterns or showing love or withdrawing, or maybe there was a withdrawal, maybe it was a fear of abandonment, wherever that was wired in the pattern, it was wired so long ago for your safety and protection. So your nervous system learned a long time ago, don't make waves, make sure everyone is happy, everyone else's happiness and meeting their needs is more important than yours. You put yours to the back burner, you put theirs on the front, right? So that is something that a lot of people deal with, and it's at a nervous system level. Someone asks you to do something and you're over capacity, your programming is to automatically say yes, to not, I'm a good person. I don't want to look like a bad person. I got to, you want to say yes. It's not even conscious, like you're thinking and having these conversations. It's automatic. And that's where in my program, I talk about boundary communication. That's really the strong one for people who are people pleasers. Because what you will learn in that, you will learn to pause and say, let me get back to you. Let me check my schedule and get back to you, right? That's powerful for somebody who's automatically used to saying yes. And then I tell, you learn how to regulate your nervous system, to check in with yourself first. That's that somatic presence. Check in with yourself. Ask yourself, do I really have the capacity for this? And the boundary communication sounds like, I would really love to help you, but I don't have the capacity for this right now. Because for someone who's a people pleaser, just saying no is like really like, I just can't say no. Like, I gotta, I'll try, maybe, like boundaries that say, your shoulders are uncertain. Even your body language says, I really don't want to say no, but I just have to, right? That's your body saying, oh, right. But when you are able to have a straight posture and have a still gut and still feel nervous, still feel a little guilt because you want to help them, but you don't have the capacity for it, then you would say, I don't have the capacity for that. No excuses, no extra just a one strong sentence that gives you that boundary that helps you to maintain your energy, maintain your capacity.
Stop playing small too.
Yes, because you're making it seem like everybody else's needs is more important than yours. And like, oh, well, yeah, I need rest, but hey, you need me to run to the store for you to get something that you could get tomorrow. But, because you don't want to be inconvenienced, you would rather inconvenience me. So I'll say yes. Right. And I said that's allowing other people to hijack your nervous system because they're uncomfortable, because they're inconvenienced. You carry that. And then your nervous system says, we got to fix it. So whatever you have to do to alleviate their feeling of being inconvenienced, their feelings of being uncomfortable or inconvenienced or aggravated, they hijack your nervous system and make it your problem to fix.
And I think Coach D, the next time I have you come on, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about toxic workplace environments and toxic environments too, because toxic environments at work or at home or in relationships can absolutely affect your mental health as well.
Absolutely. Love that. I would love that.
Before we wrap up the show in 2 minutes, Coach D, what are 3 words to describe yourself, and what's one fun fact about yourself?
3 words to describe myself. I would say passionate, empathetic, very, and really kind of corny. Well, let's see. And I would say passionate, empathetic, and I don't get relentless. I don't give up. Relentless, passionate, empathetic. And one fun fact about myself, I say I love sport. My husband is amazed at the fact that I can go to the kitchen and forget that he asked me for a glass of water, but I can remember that Mike Ditka coached the Chicago Bears. I can remember Refrigerator Perry on the line and getting that touchdown in the snow in 1980, whatever that was. I can remember fun football and sports facts that store, and he's just amazed, like, how do you remember that? I'm like, basketball too, like didn't so and so play for that game? He's like, no, they never played for that. He looks it up, like, oh, they did. Like, I don't know where these facts come from, Chris. Like, they just come up and I share it, and it'll be like something random, and he's like, how do you remember that? So I am a sports lover, and that is something that I feel that is fun, because I rather hang out with the guys and watch the game. The girls are doing something else, and when the wives get together, I'm like, what's going on with the game? I want to be with the guys watching the game.
What's your favorite food, favorite music, and how tall are you?
My favorite food, I love a good pizza. Gluten-free, of course, or cauliflower crust. I love a good pizza. And favorite food, what was the next one? I'm sorry.
Music.
Oh, music. I've been getting, see, I kind of evolved. My music taste has evolved. I've been into this hip hop, violin, and jazz. Like, I love Spanish music. I am originally from Panama. I'm Panamanian, so my first language is Spanish. Should be. Let me say is. My first language should be Spanish, but I'm not fluent as my family is. But I love my Spanish merengue and music, but I also love some instrumentals. I've been digging it lately, and especially like the hip hop violinist and handpan. I've discovered handpan. If you've never heard of it, it's a whole new genre of music. I randomly met a guy in a coffee shop, and he said he was an artist who had just had a concert, and he said it's handpan, and I'm like, what is that? And it's like this instrumental music. If you've never heard of it, it is so relaxing. I'm all into music therapy, and it's played at a certain megahertz. Is very calming, very just chill. So I'm all about the chill vibes.
One thing I'm learned about is ASMR or ASMR. It's where certain noises at nighttime can help you relax and sleep. Like with me, I have a fan on when I go to bed because I find the noise of the fan helps me relax.
Yes, absolutely. And again, that's a nervous system thing. That's where we are. That once that relaxation, the ASMR, the music, it triggers and activates the calm, that you get that relaxation and releases those feel good hormones so that you can relax.
And how tall are you, by the way?
Oh, I'm 5'5". 5'5".
Oh, okay. I'm 5'6" now.
Yeah. I may be, like you said, I may be 5'4" a little bit. Depends on the day and my hair.
Gotta ask you this. It's called Ask the Host CDP a Question. As we wrap this up, do you have a question to put me on the hot seat?
I'll put you on the hot side. So tell me, what is your favorite food? And let's see, what is one thing what is one pattern that you wish to rewire this year?
Favorite food is lasagna. And one thing I'd like to rewire is my mindset. I just want to continue to have a strong mindset and block out the skeptics, the naysayers, and the haters. So I just want to continue to have a strong mindset, a strong willpower. I want to get the show back on a radio station, but if it doesn't work out, I want to continue to build my own brand and make a name for myself. And I think I've evolved and improved in the last 6 years as well.
Yeah, and then you got that press pass to the Super Bowl. Hey.
Well, I've been turned down year after year, and it finally came through. So I tell these kids at high schools, I speak at high schools once a month about education, but education doesn't just stop in a classroom, it's lifelong. So I tell them education's lifelong, and also you don't have to pick a career when you're in high school, and that's the rest of your life. You can have 2, 3, 4, 5 different careers, and I just tell them importance of education as well. Obviously, I'm doing this the unconventional way, the way I'm doing it, but with today's technology, you don't need to be in a radio station anymore. You can broadcast from what you're doing now, like what I'm doing now, and many others are as well. And I'm very proud about the show the most. It's very diverse. I love my sports, but it's also a fully diverse talk show with topics and guests. And I just want people to see that I'm not just a sports guy. I can talk many subjects, and it's the guests that make a great talk show. So I've been very lucky in that sense.
That is awesome. I did watch some of your interviews and everything, and I thought that was really, really. I loved your vibe and the warmth you
Thank
brought.
you.
Yes.
Thank you. And I want all my guests to come on here to feel comfortable and to be able to share their stories and career with us as well.
Yeah, you've done a great job. It's been an honor here, Chris. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And where can our audience follow you on social media, your website, and the best way of contacting you directly or your company, Sage Rewired Institute?
Yeah, so I have you have it there. Sage Rewire Institute at .mykajabi.com. You have TikTok, of course, where my live and some of my content. I do a lot of my content. I have the biggest audience and following on TikTok presently. Of course, my
Congrats.
yes, thank
That's
you.
amazing. Amazing.
That is growing, and I'm really excited about getting traction there. I want to transfer that to, of course, my Facebook. I do have Sage Rewire on Facebook that you can follow me there, and of course LinkedIn. Instagram, I'm not so much into. I mean, I'm into it for like Instagram is like where I want to go cry and laugh. Like, I haven't really put a lot of my content there, but I definitely have a page. But I'm mainly on TikTok, Facebook, and LinkedIn, of course, and then I'm building out my YouTube channel. And look for those podcasts. I do have the 30-day Rewired Neuroplasticity Journal. It's a prompted journal that's currently on Amazon. You can find that Rewired 30-day neuroplasticity healing journal that I've published, and it is currently on Amazon. I have other ways just to message me, a DM, or email me if you have any requests, set up a session. I can send you a link to get on my calendar to set up a session. And so those are the ways to connect with me.
When is your next live TikTok?
I will be on live tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern time. Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern time.
Friday at 7 a.m. Mm-hmm. If I can wake up that early, I will try to join you.
I appreciate you, Chris. I will post some of the highlights. I am going to get afternoon time on TikTok. A lot of people, because I have people in California that come in, and I'm so honored when they do come in, but I know it's super early for them, but they come in. And so I definitely will be getting creating an afternoon spot to teach on, because I do feel like this is such an important topic, and the information and transformation that I've been able to create out of the live rooms has been impactful. So I definitely want to create that space for people who aren't up as early.
Have you ever been to Canada before? Have you been to Canada or internationally?
No, I haven't been. My daughter, I sent her on a trip, and when she was in high school, and they went to Niagara Falls. So my daughter, I am proud to say my children are well traveled. They've been to Mexico, to Costa Rica, to Panama, to Canada. So I live through them right now. They're all adults. My youngest being 25, my oldest being 31, and my daughter being 27. And
They
they
grow up fast.
just proud of
Kids
them.
grow up fast.
I know, they surely do.
Well, Coach D, I want to say thank you so much for giving us well over 90 minutes of your time tonight. And I want to wish you continued success in your career, coaching career, as founder of Sage Rewired Institute. And give me a little bit of time tonight, and I will send you the full video, the audio, and I will edit this video into reels and clips, because everybody's attention span seems to be getting smaller and smaller nowadays too.
Absolutely.
Just
Thank
like
you.
me, just like me.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. All right, Chris, thank you so
So
much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I look forward to continuing the conversation and connecting with you again.
absolutely 100%. Thank you so much, Coach D. Have a great night, and we'll be in touch with you on social media soon.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Go Denver.
Yes. Go
Okay.
Houston.
All right. Thanks, Coach D. We'll talk to you soon.
All righty. Do I exit out? I'm sorry.
No, I got you. I got
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Okay. All right, everybody. That wraps up season 12, episode 44, overall 649 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership here in Guelph. And as we wrap up this show, guys, again, Barry Cullen Chevrolet is the official sponsor of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. Right now at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, it's your go-to service center this winter. With winter here and the minus 20 temperatures here, they can impact your battery greatly. And right now at Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, bring your vehicle in for a free, that's right, a free 12-volt battery test or charge. And if you happen to need a new battery, they will provide you with a $20 rebate as well. So again, go check out Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership. Get a peace of mind. Get your battery checked and see if you need a new battery or if the battery's still good. And if you happen to need a new battery, they will give you a $20 rebate as well. So Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, located at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall, or check out their website, barrycullen.com, and tell them Chris Palme sent you as well. And as we wrap up this show, guys, I got another announcement to make. The next Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by, sponsored by barrycullen.com, is going to be on Friday, January 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern, with special guest David Unger, 2024 Grey Cup champion with the CFL's Toronto Argonaut and wide receiver with the Toronto Argonauts. And David Unger is going to come on and talk to us a little bit about his CFL career with the Argos and Tiger Cats, as well as his football training camp or football camp for young high school kids called the QEW camp as well. So if you're a fan of the Toronto Argonauts, fan of the CFL, fan of David Unger, check out Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 on the West Coast, with number 83, David Unger from the Toronto Argonauts. And I want to say thank you, everyone, for watching this show on Facebook. LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, X, and Instagram. And also, thank you for listening to the show on the audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and wherever podcasts are available as well. And again, I want to say thank you so much to my guest tonight, Coach D, the founder of Sage Rewire Institute, for coming on here tonight as well. And for those that are in Southern Ontario, make sure you stay inside. It's going to be about minus 21 with the wind chill tonight. And we're supposed to get another 5 centimeters of snow tomorrow. So winter is fully in gear here in Southern Ontario. So again, thank you to Coach D and to everyone for watching and listening to Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, hosted by Chris Pame and brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership here in Guelph. Have a great night, everybody, and thanks for watching and listening to Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by barrycullen.com. Good night, everybody.